What's going on, everyone? So, the other day, made a video about it, talking about Damian Leone suggesting that Terrifier 4 could be the end of Art the Clown. That could be the end of the Art the Clown saga. However, it looks like there is a new tune being sung. So, according to Damian Leone, there is no definitive answer at this time regarding how many more films I will make before concluding the Terrifier saga. Personally, can't see it going further than 1 or 2 more films, but only time will tell. For now, all I can say with certainty is that I know how it ends, and it will be epic. So, a couple things to unpack. First off, this is good news, right? It's not, the only reason I don't say it's great news is because it still could only be 1 more film, right? Like, it says I don't see this going beyond 1 or 2 more films, but just kind of clarifies, right? I can't see a scenario personally where, with the success that Terrifier 3 has had, and then if Terrifier 4 has the same, similar, or more success, 1, he doesn't want to continue, and 2, studios don't want to continue. Right? Like, I can understand, at some point, Terrifier is probably going to end. You could make the argument that you don't. Right? Like, you could finish the Sienna arc, have that be concluded, and then, you know, even if you wanted to take a little hiatus, at some point pick it back up and Art's back. Right? You know, like, without going into any spoilers or anything like that, like, we know, if you've watched the other films, not even this one, if you've watched the other films, you know there's a supernatural element to Art. Right? So, there is a million ways that you can go about it. Like, it's the beauty of, like, Freddy and Jason, which at times can get a little over the top, right? And hopefully we don't get an Art in space or anything like that. Although, Jason X has always been a beloved film to me. For whatever reason, it is, like, one of my favorite bad horror films. Like, I love that movie. Like, even Leprechaun in Space, I actually think is pretty entertaining. But I digress. Point is that, you know, look, success breeds more opportunity, right? And there's also the potential, and I talked about this in the video where, you know, I talked about Damian Leone potentially stepping away from Terrifier after, not really stepping away, but, you know, not maybe concluding it after the next film. There's probably a good chance and opportunity that he wants to go elsewhere and do other things. That doesn't mean you can't pick back up the pen and write a new Terrifier film, right? You absolutely can. But there is also, I'm sure, other things that Damian Leone wants to accomplish and wants to achieve that now he has the name in which he can do so. Right? Terrifier 1 was, you know, on like what was it, like a $60,000 budget or something like that. And it was just essentially back cataloged on Netflix and Tubi and all these other platforms and then it picked up a cult following. That led into a Terrifier 2 where he was able to get more money, and now Terrifier 3, and it's going to continue. Now, in the world of Hollywood, when you're hot, right? You start having a little success, everyone wants to work with you, people want to throw money at you. He probably has all kinds of studios and stuff hitting him up going, hey, dude, what else you got? Right? Like, so I'm sure there is this, you know, obviously this is baby. This is pride and joy, right? This is the first kid. Right? There's always something special, right? Like, so I get that. But at some point, you're probably going to want to branch out and venture off in other things. You're probably going to have some other kids at some point. And that's kind of what I could see eventually happening, particularly with the Terrifier franchise. But that doesn't mean, like I said, doesn't mean, you know, say you do Terrifier 4, you have a 5-year hiatus in which Damian Leone has a couple other films and, you know, does a thing here and there, and then, you know, decides, you know what, let's bring Art back. I wouldn't be shocked at all. But 4 is such a bad number, right? Like, you gotta at least have that 5th film. Gotta have that nice round number, right? So I think if I had to guess, like, how many more films do I think there will be? I think at least 2 more. No, maybe it's technically 1 film, but it's in 2 parts. But Damian Leone said that he doesn't plan on making, he said, what was it, an hour and 30 minutes kind of seems to be what the audience prefers, right? That he'll stay away from 2 hours. So, maybe you make a 3-hour film and you break it into 2 parts. And it's part 1 and part 2. And it's the conclusion of Art the Clown in Siena, right? I think that that's an approach you can go. I think that's something you can do. That would make some real sense, right? Like, but I think ultimately we'll get at least 2 more films. I think there'll be at least 5 films in the franchise. I mean, I know technically you could say All Hallows Eve, but I'm talking about Terrifier films. I'm talking about Art the Clown, focus, front center, being his goofy killing self. Like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see. And I do imagine that we will get that. I do imagine that there will be, more story to tell. And look, like, the fact that Art is not this just human in a costume opens the door for all kinds. Like, even if you do kill off Art the Clown, I mean, think of how many, like, the final chapters we've gotten, right? And every time a movie's entitled The Final Chapter, there's at least 2 more movies coming, right? Like, The Final Chapter, or, the final movie, like Jason Goes to Hell, right? Like, and then next thing you know, right? So you could have kind of the conclusion, like I said, of this story, of this saga, kind of get through that, tell a new convincing story later on down the road. Damian Leone picking up, doing other films, doing other things, right? That's going to have success because you can add his name behind it and stuff. Right? Like, I'm sure he wants to create beyond Terrifier, right? And that's fine, right? Like, if you have a passion and if you're excellent at a specific craft, yes, you can still do that craft. But if there's other areas in which you can expand that craft, why wouldn't you do that? Now, especially if you have the opportunity and the potential success in those areas. If it's something where it's like you're kind of, like, if he starts jumping into like rom-coms, I don't know if he'd have that success. I'm not saying he wouldn't. I'm not saying he wouldn't be able to make a film like that. But the name right now is in the horror space. Name right now is in these style of horror films that you get with Terrifier franchise, right? Like, I'm sure he's getting phone calls not to go, hey, dude, love Terrifier, man. It'd be great. Let's do a love story, right? Like, he's probably getting phone calls of like, hey, man, it's all Terrifier. Absolutely love it. Great job. What else do you got? Right? In the horror space. Or, hey, we have this idea for a werewolf movie. You think you could do that? We put together a script. You think maybe you could put that together? Maybe you can even, kind of collab on the script and stuff. Right? Like, things like that. Like, that's what the phone, again, I don't know, but that's my guess based on the history of Hollywood. People aren't calling him up going like, hey, no, man, I'd love to do a great drama series. People are like, hey, like, what other horror ideas do you have? And, the well has really opened up for him. Conclude this story, tell this story, finish what you need to finish with Art the Clown, and then let's see, I'm excited to see what else he's capable of. He's been able to turn what was, in many ways, kind of just like that fun, for him, that fun project, hey, let's get this out and see, but, in the original scope of things was kind of just kind of this throwaway, right? Again, not saying from Damian Leone, not saying like that was his idea or his vision, but talking about like, again, Netflix, it's at the back of back of it all, right? Like, you had to search for it. You just stumble across it randomly, whatever, right? On these streaming platforms, it was kind of this like, yeah, we'll take it and just kind of throw it up. Right, it wasn't focused. It wasn't in the top 10. It wasn't this front and center. Right, it wasn't this highly advertised film. It was this low budget. Yeah, sure. We'll throw it up on our platform type thing, and it blossomed into this beautiful creation. And you really gotta applaud. You really gotta tip your hat to Damian Leone, because it's great to see, one, just people have success. Period. But two, have success in something that you love, something that he's passionate about. And then 3, him just being able to continue to develop a real franchise here, real staple in the horror space. Like, people love Terrifier. Now, this is up there, and I think it's going to continue to grow. But look, the more films, the merrier. We get Terrifier 10. I'm all for it. Art goes to space. I'll give it a chance, my guy. Right? But nonetheless, I'm excited to see where the Terrifier franchise goes. But however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. As always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? You think this is good news? You think this is great news? You think this is bad news? The only reason I don't say it's great news is because, then it could just be one film. It's very possible it's just one film. But we'll see. Time will tell. How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.